Hello everyone and welcome to Sharp Dressed Gaming. I'm your host Richard, and today we are back with Sharp Dressed Pokemon. Now today we're going to be looking at 3 different Pokemon this time, instead of usual 1 or 2, depending, because we are looking at Charizard and his 2 Megas, Charizard X and Charizard Y. Mega Charizard X and Mega Charizard Y, that is. So of course, before we go into any competitive movesets, we want to look at their background, kind of look at their stats, see what's going on with them, so we know what to look for when creating sets for them. So let's jump into it here without any further ado. So of course, first we have to look at Charizard himself. Now Charizard is the flame Pokemon. He is a fire and flying type, so of course gets destroyed by rock, any rock type move, because he's 4 times weak to it. And Charizard has a height of 5 feet 7 inches or 1.7 meters and a weight of 199.5 pounds or 90.5 kilograms. Now, of course, you've heard it before from many people, but because of Charizard's height, he's not going to be carrying you around. Maybe if you're a younger kid, he can carry you around, fly you around, but somebody like my height, 6'2", Charizard is not carrying you around, let me tell you. And of course I like to kind of throw this up against a real world thing, or maybe if it's mythical, if they have the height and weight for mythical creatures, air quotes here. I'll show it up to that. But today I decided to put it up against a Komodo Dragon. Charizard up against Komodo Dragon. Now, since this is one of the closest things I could think of for Charizard, since they don't really have height and weight on dragons, so I brought up Komodo Dragons, and according to the Guinness Book of World Records, the average adult male Komodo Dragon weighs 79 to 91 kilograms, or 174 to 201 pounds. So up against Charizard, that's actually pretty close for weight. So Charizard weighs about the same as a Komodo Dragon. Actually, for the bigger Komodo Dragons, he's a little bit less. And the Komodo Dragons are 2.59 meters or 8.5 feet long. So I'm sure they're going for height with this, because it says height. But from tip of the tail to tip of the nose, Komodo Dragons are taller. I don't know, I guess they're about the same size. So Charizard is about the size of Komodo Dragon, if you want to think about it that way. Kind of cool if you think about it. Kind of not, because you can't fly on him. Not that he's real anyway to fly on. But, moving on to abilities, we have Blaze, which of course increases fire-type moves when Charizard gets down to, I think it's the lower third of his health points. And then its hidden ability, Solar Power. When Charizard is in the sun, it boosts its attacking moves, but it also loses some of its HP. Now, looking at Charizard's stats, HP is 78, attack is 84, defense is 78, special attack is 109, special defense is 85, and speed is 100. So of course Charizard is known for more as a special attacker, but people have been known to run the old belly drum Charizard back in the day. But now that Charizard has the 2 different Megas, they both outclass him in so many ways that I have not seen a normal Charizard in the metagame at all today. So let's move on to Charizard Y first, since usually you'd go alphabetically, but I'm going as they were announced. Mega Charizard Y was announced before Mega Charizard X, so let's look at Mega Charizard Y first. Alright, so Mega Charizard Y, of course, still fire flying type. Same height, actually, but the weight gets a little bit bigger, 221.6 pounds, or 100.5 kilograms. And Charizard Y's ability changes to Drought, and what Drought does is it brings the sun weather to the field, and of course now the abilities have been dropped to not being permanent but only to 5 turns. So Drought, the sun only lasts for 5 turns now in the 6th generation. Mega Charizard Y stats Almost all of them get a boost, I think, except for defense. Let me check that to be sure. Yep, defense stays the same, and actually speed. I thought Charizard Y got faster. Does not. Stays the same, so don't worry about waiting for your speed boost, because it ain't going anywhere. So Charizard Y, it gets 78 in HP, of course, because HP never changes for Megas. But its attack actually does increase at 104, defense 78, special attack 159, special defense 115, and speed 100. So the only things that do not change are defense and speed. It actually gets quite a big boost in attack for Charizard Y being the special attacker. And we're going to see the same as we move over to Charizard X. Charizard X, still the flame Pokemon, but it now gains the Dragon typing, getting rid of the flying typing. So, of course, Charizard X becomes weak to ground type, whereas Charizard Y was not. But it loses that 4 times weakness to rock type. So, it kind of helps, especially when we look at stats, because defense gets boosted on Charizard X. So, those rocks aren't doing as much damage to him. Of course, you still got to worry about switching in on Stealth Rocks as normal Charizard. But let's move on away from that. Charizard X actually weighs more than the other two Charizard, 243.6 pounds or 110.5 kilograms. And Charizard X's ability is Tough Claws. Now what Tough Claws does is it boosts all physical moves. I'm not sure by how much. It's not a sword stance boost. I think it's like +1 maybe. But nonetheless, boost those physical moves, which helps because actually Charizard X's physical attack and special attack are even. So that Tough Claws boosts up that physical attack stat a little bit more. So speaking of stats, HP is 78, attack is 130, defense 111, special attack 130, special defense stays the same at 85, and speed stays the same at 100. So instead of being defense and speed staying the same, it is now special defense and speed. And then they switch around how much is going into attack. And special attack still getting in both, but not as much as the other. And finally, we're going to look at the Pokedex entry for Charizard. Charizard, of course, evolves from Charmeleon at level 36. And from Pokemon X, Charizard says, when expelling a blast of super hot fire, the red flame at the tip of its tail burns even more intensely. Now, of course, there's the whole thing where if Charizard's tail goes out, it dies. Pokemon X and Y didn't really go that route, which is kind of weird because they deal with the whole life and death in Pokemon X and Y. But they just talk about it burning more intensely. And the other one, I believe, just talks about him flying and burning. Yeah, it's like he flies at 4,600 feet, an altitude of 4,600 feet, and he blows and he makes intense fire. So with that, I'm going to throw you guys over to Showdown. We're going to look at a few different attack or movesets for these Charizards after looking at these stats and stuff. And I'll see you guys in just a moment over there. Alright guys, so I've come up with 3 different sets here. 6 different sets, sorry. 3 of Charizard Y, 3 of Charizard X. And of course we're going to go in the same order here. So let's start with Charizard Y. This first Charizard Y is just the all-out attacker. Typical Charizard Y you're going to see people using. This one actually works really well as a lead. Because you can just kind of go all out with that drought and just kind of run through their team until Charizard Y goes down and then clean up with the rest of your team. Also works as an endgame sweeper. Charizard Y is just it was so underestimated compared to Charizard X at the beginning, but I think people are starting to realize Charizard Y is typically the better Charizard to use. Not saying the other one's bad, but yeah, I'm just going to show you this one. So we've got, of course, Charizard Y with the Drought ability, because that's what you have to have. And then for the moves, we have Air Slash, Flamethrower, Solar Beam, and Dragon Pulse. Now, actually, on mine, I run Focus Blast instead of Solar Beam. It's probably a stupid idea, because, I mean, Focus Blast works on Dark types, which you can just hit really hard with fire anyway. Steel types, which you can hit hard with fire anyway. What else is Fighting type hit, whereas other things won't? Fighting type. Fighting type. Fighting type. I think that's all fighting type super effective against. Why do I run Focus Blast? I have no idea, but I do. So I'm probably going to change that right after this video, to be honest. I saw it somewhere that Focus Blast would be better to use. Why? Why did I think that? I don't know. But I'd suggest this. Dragon Pulse, good for, like, other dragons. Good for dragons in general. Air Slash for that stab. Gets that flinch every once in a while. Flamethrower for stab. You can run Flamethrower. You can run Heat Wave. You can run Overheat. You can run Fire Blast. You can run Ember. It's really your decision on what kind of fire type move you're running. I just put Flamethrower in there because it's accuracy. It still hits really hard. All that good stuff. And then of course Solar Beam. You don't have to charge it, and it hits water types really hard, like a Azumarill, Crawdont, any water types really, or rock types that want to try and do something, or ground types. That's what the Focus Blast is for. It's for rock types, but Solar Beam hits them anyway, so it doesn't matter. So I don't know what I was thinking, but I'm changing it now. So then we have a Timid Nature, 252 in special attack, 252 in speed, and then 4 in HP. Typical Charizard Y, you'll see this quite often. Now, moving on to a little more different set. This is actually my VGC Charizard set. So what I run every time I use a Charizard in VGC. And you'll actually see this tomorrow in Lessons in VGC. And if you watch the Experience Share Podcast online invitational tournaments, this is the Charizard I used. So of course, still Charizard IY, Drought, all that good stuff. And then it has Protect to, if you want to not die from rocks or Brave Bird or something, use Protect. Heat Wave hits both Pokemon on the opposite side of the field. Good for doubles because you want to be hitting both of them. Rock Slide hits both of them. Hits other Charizards hard. Hits Talonflames hard. All that crazy good stuff. And then, of course, Solar Beam to hit Azumarills that don't have Sap Sipper. Those catch every once in a while, then you cry a little bit, but then you get over it. So, hits those. Hits just water types in general. Ground types, rock types. Solar Beam's good coverage for Charizard, so that's why it has it. And it's going to be the same EV spread, same nature, all that hoo-ha, shenanigan, hoopla. And then we'll move to my third set. This is a mixed set for Charizard Y. This one's got Flame Charge. It gets that speed, and plus you're hitting them for pretty hard damage with a Sun-boosted fire type move. Could run Dragon Dance if you wanted to, but I figured this would work better because you're hitting them and you're getting that speed, whereas you don't really have to rely on boosting your attack stat. And then Earthquake. Earthquake works really well because, like, people will want to bring in Heatran. That's what Focus Blast is for. Heatran. I figured it out. Focus Blast. You can run Focus Blast if you're worried about Heatran on your other Charizard. This one, the all-out attacker, instead of Dragon Pulse or Solar Beam. Your choice. Probably Dragon Pulse. But this one runs Earthquake for Heatran, so you can just demolish them as they come in. Hopefully they don't have the air balloon. Because a lot of people bring in Heatran because Charizard Y really can't do anything to it usually. But now you have Earthquake. And then we have Solar Beam, of course, coverage. And then I put Overheat on here. Again, you can run Overheat, Flamethrower, Fire Blast, Ember, Inferno, whatever other moves there are, fire type moves. But then the mix-up doesn't really come in anything other than instead of 4 in HP, it's 4 in attack. And then it is a hasty nature. Sometimes I run Naive, which is minus special defense since he gets a boost in special defense as it is. But up to you, really. Relay. And with that, we're going to move on to the Charizard X. Mega Charizard X. So, of course, we'll start out with the all-out attacker that most people use. Charizard X, Tough Claws, typical stuff. And then I have Flare Blitz on here. You can run Fire Punch if you want. Flare Blitz hits harder, though, but then you get the recoil. Dragon Dance to boost your attack and speed. Dragon Claw for that Dragon Stab. And then Earthquake to hit other fire types. All that shenanigan hoo-ha. hit Heatran. And then, of course, we have the Showdown Suggested Adamant. I run Jolly. So again, up to you really. But 252 in attack, 252 speed, 4 HP. And then we move on to my favorite Charizard X set, the Bulkyzard X. This was actually one of the first videos I made on my channel. Was a showdown trial with Bulkyzard X and Zoroark. So we've got the Charizard X, Tough Claws, of course, as per usual. But then we have Fire Punch, because this set is all about keeping HP, so you don't want to run Flare Blitz if you can help it. It still hits really hard. I actually run Fire Fang on my X and Y game because I'm dumb and I didn't get Fire Punch on it. I'm not sure if Fire Punch is a tutor move or bred move. I'm pretty sure it's probably tutor. It's not hard scale, I can tell you that. But Fire Punch, or Fire Fang, or Flare Blitz. And then Roost to, of course, get back your health. Dragon Claw for that Dragon Stab. And then Will-O-Wisp to cut your opponent's attack stat in half. So you're taking all those physical moves because Charizard X does get that boost in defense. I used to have, I think instead of Fire Punch I had Earthquake, and it just wasn't doing it for me. More times than not, I wanted the Fire type stab, so I ended up switching it. It's all test trials to figuring out what kind of moveset you actually want. And then, of course, for the EVs and nature and stuff, 252 in HP, 4 in attack, 252 in special defense, and then a Careful Nature, which boosts the special defense minus special attack. Since Charizard X already has such a high defense, you want to boost that special defense because that's what people are going to be going after. And since you're trying to bulk it out, you want to try and keep him from dying. And one thing I wanted to mention on the first Charizard, all-out attacker, if you're really worried about fairy types, which you shouldn't be because it's neutral damage to Charizard, and you can Flare Blitz them, you could run Steel Wing instead of Earthquake. Just a little something. Actually, let's kind of go over moves that Charizard could get other than Earthquake, because it's really what you want to run. There's Acrobatics, which won't really work. Aerial Ace will probably be better. I think it does more. Yeah, it does like 5 points more since you're holding an item. You could use Belly Drum instead of Dragon Dance if you wanted to be dumb. I wouldn't suggest it. Brick Break also works for Heatran and Rock types and whatnot. Crunch. Yeah. What's it called? I just looked at it. Flame Charge instead of Dragon Dance. Really up to you. There's so many things. Rock Slide. You could run again. Shadow Claw. Seismic Toss if you want to go classic anime Charizard. Thunder Punch. I would suggest Seismic Toss, by the way. I just saw it and I thought of the anime. It's actually quite terrible to run on a Charizard. Metal Claw. All the claws. But then our final Charizard is another mixed Charizard, but instead you're mixing to the special attack. So this time we're running Overheat. I suggest Overheat on this one because you aren't relying on the special attack every time. You can just get off one Overheat and then move on to your physical side. Then I have Dragon Dance. You can probably switch this out for Fire Punch or Flare Blitz again. Dragon Claw, and then Earthquake. And Earthquake could switch out for the Fire-type move as well if you want a Fire-type physical stab. So those are our 3 Charizard sets. I didn't get a normal Charizard in here just because there's so many for those other 2, and people don't run Charizard as himself right now. And also, what I'm trying to say here. Oh, I didn't run a Belly Drum set because you don't really want to be losing too much health with Charizard. I'm just kind of looking up. Charizard itself is actually OU, which is kind of surprising. But yeah, I guess it's okay. It's okay as just a Charizard. But I'm going to let you guys go since I'm starting to get a little loopy. And I still got a few more things to record here. So, thank you guys for joining us. If you have any suggestions for Pokemon we should use in the future for Sharp Dress Pokemon. Let me know in the comment section below. If you have any other suggestions for sets for Pokemon, let me know in the comment section below, and I'll be sure to let the audience know of your set, which is probably better. But thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye! Bye! Hello everyone, and thanks again for watching the video. If you could, hit that like button right below this video. It really helps out the channel. And you can see that subscribe button right on your screen there. If you want to see more of this kind of content, click right on there and it will subscribe you to this channel. And I also laid out some other videos for you guys to check out. Be sure to click on those, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye!